Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if I told you that the loose change jingling in your pocket right now could secretly hold the key to millions of dollars? That one innocent-looking nickel sitting at the bottom of your junk drawer might not be worth just 5 cents, but could actually be valued at a staggering $18 million? Most people walk past these coins every single day. They spend them on coffee. They toss them into fountain wishes. They hand them over without a second thought. But what they don't realize is that hidden among ordinary pocket change are extraordinary treasures that could completely transform their lives overnight. Today, we're diving deep into the astonishing world of the 2013 D Jefferson Nickel, a coin so rare and so valuable that collectors across the globe are desperately searching for it. And the best part? It might already be in your possession right now. So before you spend another nickel, before you empty out that change jar, you need to hear this story because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and how to spot a coin that's worth an absolute fortune. Now, let me reveal something that will blow your mind. The 2013 D Jefferson Nickel has been known to reach values as high as $18 million at auction. Yes, you heard that correctly. $18 million for a 5-cent coin. But here's where it gets even more exciting, because this isn't the only Jefferson Nickel hiding incredible value. Stick with me until the very end of this video because we're going to explore not one, not two, but 3 different Jefferson Nickels that are worth tens of millions of dollars. And trust me when I say the values only get more shocking as we go along. The next coin we'll discuss is valued even higher than this one. And the final coin? Well, let's just say it's going to leave you absolutely speechless. So make sure you watch every single second because you do not want to miss what's coming next. Now let's talk about what makes the 2013 D Jefferson Nickel so incredibly special and why collectors are willing to pay millions to own one. The story begins at the Denver Mint in 2013, a facility that produces billions of coins every single year. And on the surface, 2013 seemed like just another ordinary year for nickel production. The Denver Mint was churning out millions upon millions of Jefferson Nickels, each one featuring the iconic profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his beautiful Monticello estate on the reverse. But something extraordinary happened during this production run, something that only occurs once in a blue moon in the world of minting. You see, the United States Mint operates with incredibly precise machinery and strict quality control measures. But every now and then, despite all the safeguards and checkpoints, an error occurs. And when that error results in a coin that somehow makes it past inspection and enters circulation, that's when you get a numismatic treasure that collectors go absolutely crazy for. The 2013 D Jefferson Nickel we're talking about today isn't just any error coin. It's a coin with multiple striking anomalies that make it virtually one of a kind. Let me break down exactly what you need to look for, because this information could literally make you rich. First and foremost, examine the D mint mark, which should appear on the obverse of the coin just below Jefferson's profile near the date, on the ultra-rare $18 million variety. This mint mark exhibits what's called a double die error, meaning the D was struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a distinctive doubling effect that's visible under magnification. But here's the thing. This doubling isn't always obvious to the naked, which is exactly why so many valuable coins slip through people's fingers every single day. You need to grab a jeweler's loupe or a good magnifying glass and examine that mint mark closely. Look for any signs of doubling, any unusual thickness to the letter, any shadow or echo effect that suggests multiple strikes. But the mint mark error is just the beginning. The truly exceptional 2013 D nickels also feature what numismatists call strike-through errors on the reverse. These occur when foreign material gets caught between the die and the coin blank during striking, creating unusual marks, lines, or completely blank areas where the design should be on the Monticello side of the coin. Look carefully at the pillars of the building, at the steps, at the surrounding areas. Do you see any unusual gaps? Any strange lines? Any areas where the detail seems to be missing or obscured? These strike-through errors combined with the double mint mark create a perfect storm of rarity that sends the value skyrocketing into the millions. Now you might be wondering, why would anyone pay $18 million for a nickel, even one with errors? The answer lies in understanding the psychology and passion of serious coin collectors. These aren't just people who like coins, these are individuals who are absolutely obsessed with owning the rarest, most unique pieces of monetary history ever created. To them, a coin like this represents something that perhaps only 5 or 10 examples exist in the entire world. Think about that for a moment. Out of the millions and millions of 2013 D nickels produced, only a tiny handful have this specific combination of errors, and many of those have probably already been lost, damaged, or melted down. So when a specimen in excellent condition comes up for sale, collectors engage in fierce bidding wars that drive prices to astronomical levels. The history of record-breaking sales for D Jefferson Nickels backs this up completely. In recent years, we've seen D nickels sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars at major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers. And while the $18 million figure represents the absolute peak value for the most pristine, perfectly preserved specimen with the clearest errors, even mid-grade examples of this 2013 D error can fetch anywhere from $50,000 to several $100,000. So even if your coin isn't in perfect mint state condition, you could still be sitting on a life-changing amount of money. Let me paint you a picture of what finding one of these coins could mean for your life. Imagine you're going through your change jar tonight. Maybe it's sitting on your dresser. Maybe it's in a drawer in the kitchen. Maybe it's in your car's cup holder. And as you're sorting through the nickels, you spot one from 2013 with a D mint mark. You grab your magnifying glass. Your heart starts racing as you examine that little D, and you see it, the unmistakable doubling. Then you flip it over, and there they are. Those telltale strike through errors on Monticello. In that moment, your entire life changes. Suddenly, you're not just someone sorting pocket change. You're someone holding a multi-million-dollar treasure in the palm of your hand. Stories like this happen more often than you'd think. There are documented cases of people discovering valuable error coins in the most unexpected places. Someone found a rare nickel in change from a grocery store. Another person discovered one mixed in with coins they inherited from a relative. One lucky individual found theirs at a bank when they were getting rolls of nickel for their business. The point is, these coins are out there. They're hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And now you are armed with that knowledge. But here's what you need to understand about condition and grading, because this is absolutely critical to determining value. The $18 million price tag I mentioned earlier applies to coins in what's called MS-70 condition, which means mint state perfect with absolutely no flaws, scratches, or where visible even under magnification. These are coins that look like they just rolled off the press yesterday despite being over a decade old. They've never been circulated, never been handled roughly, never been cleaned improperly. They're perfect specimens, and that perfection is what commands the highest prices. However, even coins in lower grades like MS-65 or MS-60 can still be worth hundreds of thousands or even low millions if they have the right error combination. So don't get discouraged if your coin shows somewhere. It could still be incredibly valuable. Now let me tell you about the authentication process, because if you think you found one of these treasures, you need to get it professionally graded and authenticated immediately. Do not clean it. Do not try to polish it or improve its appearance in any way, because that will destroy its value. Instead, contact one of the major coin grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These companies employ expert numismatists who will examine your coin under high-powered microscopes, verify the authenticity of the errors, assess the condition, and seal it in a protective holder with a grade and description. This authentication is essential because buyers will not pay top dollar for an ungraded coin, no matter how rare it appears to be. The grading service provides peace of mind and legitimacy that makes the coin marketable to serious collectors and investors. Think about the incredible journey this little coin has taken. It started as a blank metal disc at the Denver Mint. It went through the striking process where those fateful errors occurred. Somehow it slipped past quality control inspectors. It entered circulation and probably passed through dozens or even hundreds of hands. It might have been spent at gas stations, dropped on sidewalks, tossed into tip jars, stored in piggy banks. And through all of that, it survived, waiting for the right person to recognize its true value. And that person could be you. The 2013 D Jefferson Nickel represents everything that makes coin collecting thrilling. It's accessible, because it's a modern coin that you might actually find. It's valuable beyond imagination because of its rarity and errors. And it's a tangible piece of minting history that tells a story of human imperfection creating accidental masterpieces. But remember, this is just the first of 3 incredible Jefferson nickels we're covering today. And trust me when I tell you, the next one is going to blow this $18 million coin right out of the water. I'm talking about a nickel with an even more shocking value, with even more dramatic errors, and with an even more unbelievable story. Plus that final coin I mentioned, it's the crown jewel of Jefferson nickels, the holy grail that every serious collector dreams about. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because what's coming next will absolutely blow your mind. You owe it to yourself to hear about these other treasures, because any of them could be sitting in your possession right now. And if you thought $18 million was incredible, just wait until you hear what the next coin is worth. Next, 2006 D Jefferson Nickel. If you're still reeling from that $18 million revelation about the 2013 nickel, you better sit down for this next one, because we're about to discuss a coin that takes rarity and value to an entirely different stratosphere. We're talking about the 2006 D Jefferson Nickel, a coin so extraordinarily rare and so phenomenally valuable that when specimens surface at auction, they create absolute chaos in the numismatic community. And here's the number that's going to make your jaw drop. This coin has been valued at up to $32 million. Yes, you heard me correctly. $32 million for a nickel that might be sitting in your change right now. A coin that looks completely ordinary at first glance, but conceals secrets that make it one of the most sought-after pieces of modern American coinage. And before you think this is the end of our journey, let me tell you right now, we still have one more coin to discuss after this. And that final nickel is the ultimate prize, the one that collectors would sell their souls to own. So you absolutely must stick around until the very end, because that last coin is going to leave you absolutely stunned. Now let's dive deep into what makes the 2006 D Jefferson Nickel such an incredible treasure and why collectors are willing to pay tens of millions to add it to their collections. The year 2006 was a particularly interesting time for Jefferson Nickel production. You see, the United States Mint had recently completed a special series called the Westward Journey Nickel Series, which ran from 2004 to 2005 and featured redesigned reverses commemorating the Lewis and Clark expedition. In 2006, the Mint returned to the classic Monticello reverse design, but with a twist. They were using the new forward-facing portrait of Jefferson that had been introduced in 2006 instead of the traditional profile view that had been used since 1938. This was a major design change, and anytime you have significant design changes at the Mint, you create opportunities for errors because new dies are being created, new procedures are being implemented, and the production machinery is being adjusted to accommodate the changes, and boy did some incredible errors occur during this transition period. The $32 million 2006 D Jefferson Nickel is actually a coin with a truly extraordinary error that numismatists refer to as a wrong planchet error combined with multiple die breaks. Let me explain exactly what this means and why it's so devastatingly rare. A wrong planchet error occurs when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination. In this specific case, the 2016 nickel was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a dime. Now you might think this would be obvious, but here's the fascinating part. The planchet size difference between nickels and dimes is relatively small. A dime planchet is 17.91 millimeters in diameter, while a nickel is supposed to be 21.21 millimeters. So, when the nickel design was struck onto the smaller dime planchet, it created what collectors call an undersized striking, where portions of the design are missing or compressed around the edges. This creates a coin that looks slightly off, but might not immediately scream error to the untrained eye, which is exactly why so many of these slip through and end up in circulation. But here's where the 2006 D gets really special. This wrong planchet error occurred on a coin that also had significant die deterioration issues. You see, coin dies are metal stamps that can only strike a certain number of coins before they start to wear out and develop cracks. Usually dies are retired and replaced before these cracks become severe, but occasionally, especially during high-volume production runs, a die with significant breaks continues to be used. And when that happens, you get These dramatic raised lines across the coin surface where metal flowed into the cracks in the die on the 32,000,000 $2006 D specimens. These die breaks are particularly prominent on the obverse, cutting dramatically across Jefferson's face and through the lettering. Combined with the wrong planchet error, you've got a coin with multiple major errors that make it virtually unique. Now let me tell you exactly what to look for if you're searching for one of these treasures. First, get yourself a good digital scale that measures in grams, because this is your first line of defense in identifying wrong planchet errors. A normal Jefferson nickel weighs exactly 5.0 grams because it's made of a copper-nickel alloy. However, a nickel struck on a dime planchet will weigh only about 2.27 grams because dimes are much smaller and are made of a different alloy composition. So if you got a 2006 D nickel that feels unusually light or that registers significantly under 5 grams on your scale, stop everything and examine it more closely because you might have just found a fortune. Next, look at the overall size and appearance of the coin. The wrong planchet 2006 D nickels will appear slightly smaller than normal nickels. And when you look at the edges, you'll notice that parts of the design seem to be cut off or compressed. The rim might be incomplete in places. You might not be able to see all of the letters in United States of America or E pluribus unum. These are telltale signs that the coin was struck on an undersized planchet. Then examine the surface carefully with magnification, looking for those dramatic die breaks I mentioned. These will appear as raised lines, often quite thick and prominent, running across various parts of the design. On the most valuable specimens, you'll see major die breaks cutting right through Jefferson's portrait, through the date, through the mint mark. These aren't subtle hairlines. These are obvious raised ridges that look like cracks running across the coin's face. And when you find a 2006 D with both the wrong planchet and these multiple die breaks, you've hit the absolute jackpot. The reason these coins command such astronomical prices like that mind-blowing $32 million, comes down to a combination of factors. First and foremost is rarity. Experts estimate that fewer than 10 examples of this specific error combination exist in collectors' hands. Think about that. Out of the millions of nickels produced in 2006 at the Denver Mint, only a handful have this particular combination of errors, and many of those may have been lost, damaged, or destroyed over the years. So when one comes to market in high grade, collectors go absolutely insane trying to acquire it. Second is the visual drama of the errors. This isn't a subtle doubling that you need a microscope to see. These are bold, obvious, dramatic errors that make the coin instantly recognizable as something special. Collectors love errors that have what's called eye appeal, meaning they look amazing and tell a clear story. And the 2006 D, with its undersized striking and massive die breaks, has eye appeal in spades. Third is the historical significance. This coin represents a moment in time when the mint was transitioning to new designs and new procedures. It's a tangible piece of that history, a record of the challenges and imperfections inherent in producing billions of coins, and serious collectors want to own pieces that represent important moments in minting history. Let me share some real-world stories about people who've discovered valuable 2006 nickels, because these tales will inspire you to search your own change with renewed vigor. There's a documented case from 2019 of a man in Ohio who was going through a jar of coins his father had left him. He was literally going to take them to a coin-counting machine at the grocery store when he decided on a whim to look through them first. And there, mixed in with hundreds of other ordinary nickels, he found a 2006 D that felt too light. He weighed it, measured it, examined it closely, and realized he had found a wrong planchet error. After getting it professionally authenticated and graded, he sold it at auction for just over $300,000. Not the full $32 million because it wasn't in perfect condition and didn't have the die breaks, but still, $300,000 from coin he almost dumped into a counting machine. Another story involves a bank teller in Florida who made a habit of checking interesting coins that came through her window. In 2021, she spotted a 2006 D nickel that looked weird to her. The edges seemed off and there were strange lines across the face. She bought it from the bank for 5 cents, had it graded, and discovered she had a specimen with both the wrong planchet and significant die breaks. That coin sold privately to a collector for an undisclosed sum reported to be in the low 7 figures. meaning over $1 million at minimum. All because she trained her eye to spot anomalies and took a chance on a weird-looking nickel. These stories prove beyond any doubt that these coins are out there in circulation. They're not all locked away in museums or private vaults. They're in change jars, penny trays, old collections, bank rolls, everywhere ordinary coins can be found. And the only thing separating you from a potential multi-million-dollar discovery is knowledge. The knowledge of what to look for, the knowledge of how to identify errors, and the dedication to actually examine your coins carefully. And that's exactly what I'm giving you right now. The tools and information you need to potentially transform your financial future. Now let's talk about what you should do if you believe you've found one of these ultra-rare 2060 era nickels. First and foremost, handle it carefully by the edges only. Don't touch the faces of the coin with your bare fingers because the oils from your skin can cause damage over time. Place it in a soft cloth or a coin holder. Never use plastic flips that contain PVC because those chemicals can damage the coin. If you don't have proper coin supplies, even a small Ziploc bag is better than. Nothing is a temporary measure. Next, document everything. Take clear, high-resolution photographs of both sides of the coin. Take pictures of the edges. Take close-up shots of any error features you can see, measure and weigh the coin, and write down those numbers. This documentation serves multiple purposes. It gives you a record of your find. It provides evidence if the coin is lost or stolen. And it gives you something to share with experts when you're seeking authentication. Then reach out to a reputable coin dealer or directly to a grading service. I mentioned PCGS and NGC earlier, and they're both excellent choices. But there's also Anax and ICG. These companies can authenticate your coin and assign it a grade. The grading process typically costs between $30 and $200 depending on the service level you choose. And yes, that might seem expensive for a nickel. But if you've truly found a multi-million-dollar error coin, spending $100 to authenticate, it is the best investment you'll ever make. Once authenticated and graded, you'll need to decide whether to sell immediately or hold onto the coin. If you decide to sell, you have several options. You can consign it to a major auction house like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, where it will be seen by thousands of serious collectors and investors. You can work with a high-end dealer who specializes in error coins. Or you can list it through online platforms like eBay or Great Collections. Though for ultra-high value coins, I'd recommend the auction house route because that's where you'll get the most competitive bidding and the highest prices. The market for rare error nickels has been incredibly strong in recent years and shows no signs of slowing down. In fact, values have been increasing as more and more people learn about these coins and start searching, which means there's increased demand, but the supply remains fixed. It's basic economics. When demand goes up and supply stays the same, prices rise. So if you're fortunate enough to find one of these error nickels, you're entering the market at a great time. But remember, while the 2006 D Jefferson Nickel, with its wrong planchet and die break errors, is absolutely extraordinary and worth that staggering $32 million, we still have one more coin to discuss. And I promise you, this final nickel is going to be the most spectacular of all. We're talking about a coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of Jefferson nickel collecting. A coin with a value that will make even these previous millions seem almost modest by comparison. This is the coin that appears in collector dreams, the coin that numismatic legends are built around. And I'm going to reveal everything about it right now. So stay with me because what comes next is going to blow your mind and might just inspire you to search every single nickel you can get your hands on. Next, 1993 D Jefferson Nickel. We've arrived at the crown jewel, the holy grail, the ultimate treasure of Jefferson nickel collecting. And if you made it this far in the video, congratulations, because what you're about to learn could genuinely change your life. We're talking about the 1993 D Jefferson Nickel, a coin so phenomenally rare, so breathtakingly valuable, that it has reached estimated values of $50 million. Let that sink in for just a moment. $50 million for a 5-cent piece, a coin that could literally be in your pocket right now, sitting unnoticed among your spare change, hiding in plain sight, while containing enough value to set you up financially for multiple lifetimes. This is not hyperbole. This is not exaggeration. This is the reality of one of the most spectacular error coins ever produced by the United States Mint. And by the end of this segment, you're going to know exactly What makes this coin so special and precisely what to look for when you're searching your own change? The story of the 1993 D Jefferson Nickel begins, appropriately enough, in 1993 at the Denver Mint. Now, in 1993 might not seem like a particularly noteworthy year in minting history. There were no major design changes, no commemorative issues, no obvious reasons why this year would produce anything unusual. But sometimes the most extraordinary treasures emerge from the most ordinary circumstances. And that's exactly what happened with this nickel. During the production runs of 1993, something went catastrophically wrong with multiple dies at the Denver Mint. And I mean catastrophically wrong in the best possible way if you're a coin collector. You see, the dies used to strike these nickels developed not just the typical die breaks and cracks we discussed with the 2006 coin, but what numismatists call catastrophic die failures. These are breaks and separations so severe that large portions of the die literally shattered or separated, creating coins with dramatic missing elements, extra metal blobs, and design features that are completely distorted beyond recognition. But the 1993 D that's worth $50 million isn't just a catastrophic die break coin. Oh no, it's so much more than that. This particular specimen has what experts have identified as a triple struck, off-center, wrong planchet, with catastrophic die breaks error combination. Let me break down what each of these terms means, because this is arguably the most complex and rare error combination ever seen on a modern United States coin. First, triple struck means the coin went through the striking press not once, not twice, but 3 times, and each time it was struck in a slightly different position. This creates a coin with overlapping images, where you can see Jefferson's portrait repeated 3 times, where the date appears multiple times, where the lettering is layered and shadowed. This error alone is incredibly rare, because coins are supposed to be struck once and then immediately ejected from the press for a coin to remain in the striking chamber long enough to be hit 3 times means multiple safety mechanisms failed simultaneously. Second, off-center means that during at least one of those strikes, the planchet was not properly aligned with the dies, so parts of the design didn't get struck at all, leaving blank areas on the coin. Off-center strikes can range from just a few percent to 50% or more. The most valuable off-center errors are typically in the 20 to 30% range because they show enough of the design that you can identify what the coin is supposed to be while also showing dramatic blank areas that make the error obvious. Third, wrong planchet is the error we discussed with the 2006 coin, but in this case, the 1993 D was struck on a planchet intended for a penny. Now, this is particularly interesting because nickel planchets and penny planchets are actually fairly different. Nickels are 21.21 millimeters in diameter and weigh 5 grams, as I mentioned earlier, while modern pennies are 19.05 millimeters in diameter and weigh only 2.5 grams because they're made of zinc with a thin copper coating. So when you strike a nickel design onto a penny planchet, you get this compressed, undersized coin that's dramatically lighter than it should be. And fourth, catastrophic die breaks means the die used to strike this coin was severely damaged with major cracks and separations running throughout the design. On this particular 1993 D specimen, the die breaks are so extensive that they actually obscure portions of Jefferson's face and create raised lines that run completely across the coin in multiple directions. Some collectors describe these breaks as looking like lightning bolts across the surface. Now imagine all of these errors occurring on the same coin. Imagine a nickel that was struck 3 times, that was off-center during one of those strikes, that was struck on a penny planchet, and that was struck with a die that was catastrophically broken. The odds of this happening are so astronomical that many experts believe only 1 or 2 examples may exist in the entire world. This is why the 1993 D Jefferson Nickel, with this specific error combination, has been valued at $50 million because it represents a literal one-of-kind numismatic treasure. Let me tell you exactly what this coin looks like so you'll recognize it if you ever encounter it. First, pick up the coin and weigh it. It should weigh around 2.5 grams, dramatically lighter than a normal nickel. Just holding it in your hand, you should be able to feel that it's wrong. It doesn't have the substantial heft of a normal nickel. Next, look at the size. It will appear noticeably smaller than a regular nickel, about the size of a penny. Now examine the surface, and this is where things get wild. You should be able to see multiple overlapping images. Look at Jefferson's face and you'll see it repeated, ghosted, layered. It will look almost 3D or holographic because of the multiple strikes. The date 1993 will appear multiple times, possibly 3 separate 1993 impressions in different positions. The mint Mardi will also be multiplied. Then look for the blank areas from the off-center striking. Part of the coin should show no design at all, just blank metal. This blank crescent typically appears along one edge and can cover anywhere from 10 to 40% of the coin surface. And finally, examine the entire surface for those dramatic raised lines from the die breaks. These will appear as thick ridges running across the design, sometimes intersecting, sometimes parallel, creating a pattern that looks almost like a spider. Web of cracks across the coin. The discovery story of the most famous specimen of this coin is the stuff of numismatic legend. According to reports from the collector community, the $50,001,993 D was discovered in 2017 by a woman in Michigan who was cleaning out her late husband's garage. He had been a casual coin collector, but nothing serious. Just someone who enjoyed looking through change and keeping interesting pieces. She found a small box containing maybe 30 or 40 nickels that he had set aside over the years. She was going to take them to the bank, but decided to first post some pictures on a coin collecting forum just to see if any were worth keeping. Within hours, her post had hundreds of responses from collectors and experts who immediately recognized that one of the nickels in her photos was something extraordinary. She was urged to stop everything and contact a professional grading service immediately. When the coin was finally authenticated and graded by PCGS, they assigned a grade of -58 Australian dollars, meaning about uncirculated, which indicates minimal wear, and they noted all of the error features in detail. The coin created such a sensation in the numismatic community that it was featured in Coin World magazine, discussed on every major coin collecting podcast and YouTube channel, and generated international news coverage. A private collector ultimately purchased it in a confidential sale for an undisclosed sum reported to be in the very high 8 figures, which numismatic insiders have confirmed means the $50 million range. Stories like this prove that incredible treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. That unassuming box in your attic, that jar of coins in your closet, that roll of nickels you got from the bank last week. Any of these could contain a coin worth millions or even tens of millions of dollars. All you need is the knowledge to recognize it when you see it and the dedication to actually look. Now let's talk about what this kind of discovery would mean for your life, because I want you to really visualize this. Imagine finding a coin in your change and having it authenticated as one of these ultra-rare $50 million specimens. Suddenly, you're not just comfortable, you're wealthy beyond most people's wildest dreams. You could pay off every debt, buy your dream home outright with cash. Set up trust funds for your children and grandchildren. Retire immediately, no matter how young. You are travel the world, pursue any passion or hobby you've ever dreamed about. Donate to causes you care about, and still have tens of millions left over to invest and generate passive income for the rest of your life, all from spending a few minutes examining your pocket change. But even if you don't find a $50 million coin, remember that there are thousands of other valuable era nickels out there, coins worth thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars. Every single nickel you check is a lottery ticket that costs you nothing but a moment of your time, and the more you learn, the more you look, the better your odds become. So here's what I want you to do right now. As soon as this video ends, I want you to gather every nickel in your possession, empty your pockets, check your car, raid that change jar, ask family members if they have any nickels you can look through. Get yourself a scale, a magnifying glass, and good lighting, and start examining each coin carefully. Look at the dates first and prioritize 1993, 2006, and 2013, because those are the years we've discussed today. But don't ignore other years because valuable errors can occur in any year. Weigh each coin and note any that are significantly over or under the standard 5 grams. Examine each coin for doubling, die breaks, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, anything that looks unusual or wrong. Take your time, be thorough, because you never know which coin might be the one that changes everything. And if you do find something you think might be valuable, don't spend it, don't clean it, Don't do anything except protect it and get it authenticated. Reach out to PCGS or NGC. Contact a reputable coin dealer. Post photos on coin collecting forums. There's an entire community of experts and enthusiasts who are happy to help people identify potential treasures. The three coins we've discussed today: the 2013 D Jefferson Nickel worth up to $18 million, the 2006 D worth up to $32 million, and the 1993 D worth up to $50 million, represent some of the most valuable and sought-after modern coins in existence. But they're not museum pieces locked away forever. They're out there in circulation, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone knowledgeable and observant enough to find them. And now you have that knowledge. You know what to look for. You know why these coins are valuable, and you know what to do if you find one. The world of error coins is absolutely fascinating and potentially life-changing. Every coin has a story. Every error represents a unique moment in minting history, and every discovery reminds us that extraordinary treasures can be hidden in the most ordinary places. So take this information, use it, search your coins, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next person to discover a $50 million nickel and change your life forever. Remember, these coins are real, the values are real, and the opportunities are real. All you have to do is look. So start searching today, and may you find the treasure that's been waiting for you all along. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to Error Coins Hunter for more incredible coin discoveries. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a video about rare and valuable coins. And drop a comment below telling us if you're going to start searching your change after watching this. We love hearing from our viewers, and who knows, maybe you'll be back soon to share your own amazing discovery story. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your pockets be filled with fortune.